This bird is fussy, 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 and it better be delicious. Enchiladas out of the oven. Oh yeah, that is ready, y'all. That looks good. It looks so good. Hey y'all, hey, Erica with Time to Shrink. Welcome to another What's for Dinner. This week is our third week of our Pantry and Freezer Challenge. We're really like getting down to the nitty gritty of what we have left. We did not have a huge pantry and freezer. Let me share with you everything I made this week. There's also gonna be a few little meal preps thrown in just to make this week easier on us. Let's just jump right into it and show you what we ate for dinner this week. Now I'm gonna attempt to make some duck today. I have never made a duck and I am so nervous. All thawed and ready. I'm gonna cut her out of here and wash her down, wipe her down, and start the process. It seems really complicated, like easy, but takes time. I don't know, we shall see. Okay, we've patted her dry, and what it says to do next is to score the skin without going through all the way. Alright y'all, I did not do awesome at this. This does not look great. I went too deep in a couple places, way too deep right there. I don't know y'all. I think the point of it is that there's so much fat that you need it to be able to come out. So it said to prick it a couple places where the skin meets, but not to do it on the legs because it's thin there. So I don't know. I don't know y'all. Okay, it said to generously salt, so we're gonna put a good amount of salt and rub it all over, and pepper. Alright, this is a three-man job. One person on the camera, one person on the salt. Yep, just give me a lot of salt because it's a big guy.
Is that more?
No, yeah. And because the duck is so oily, we are not going to use any kind of oil or butter, where like if you do a turkey, it's a lot drier, so you put a ton of butter on top and underneath the skin. None of the recipes I looked for said that. Now on this back side, we're gonna go through, and it said just to poke holes in the skin so that it can let the fat release. So what you do when you're cooking a duck in the oven, apparently, is you keep flipping it. So you do an hour and some amount of time on one side, and then you flip to the other side and then you flip back. It's a time-consuming thing, and then towards the end you have to do something every 10 minutes. So hopefully this is gonna be good, because I think this is gonna be a lot of work, y'all. Alright, so we're gonna take some garlic cloves and stuff it inside here, and then we're gonna take lemon and stuff it inside. This is just to help flavor it from the inside out. Obviously, we will discard all this in the end. And then, alright, we got all that in there. Now we're gonna attempt to tie this bird. I don't have a clue how to do this, truthfully, but we're gonna try. I don't know if this is the correct method, but this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna give it a cute little bow. How about that? Okay, I don't know. And then I guess we just tuck these wings under like that. Okay. A roasting pan. I'm pretty sure it said to do breast side up first. I'm gonna check. And we turned our oven on 350 degrees. $350 for an hour, and then we come back and flip it over. Okay, here's how it's looking after 1 hour. Not like much, and there's actually not even much juice that's come out of it yet. You can see where I cut too far here, but I'm supposed to flip it over and put it back in on the other side. Here's the other side, and I've got the little slits to let the fat out, so this is gonna go back in on this side. All right, this is what the duck is looking like. This is the back side of it, and it's definitely bled out some fat. So now I'm supposed to take this out. I'm gonna see if I can do this. Ooh, and put it on a platter. Ooh, there we go. It's not done, but we're supposed to get this fat out from the bottom here. I'm not really sure why we need to take the fat out, because it's on a roasting rack, which it told me to put it on. But I'm gonna drain, oh, it is a lot of fat. You see all that? We're gonna drain this fat, and then we put it back in, flipped the other way. Right, now we're supposed to flip it back over. Oh, hot, hot, hot. Okay, here's flipped over. Woo! There we go, there she is. Now we've got to make our sauce to put on top of it before she goes back in the oven. And we lost a piece of garlic. Put that back in there. I will link the recipe down below because I'm totally following a recipe. Balsamic vinegar, lemon juice, and it's supposed to have honey. I use this Sucre Gold honey alternative. I'm supposed to coat this really well with this balsamic glaze. And I'm actually using the convection roast because I feel like since we're roasting, that's probably a good way to go. So instead of just baking, I'm using the convect roast. This is the 4th base so far. We're basting it every single 10 minutes with this balsamic glaze mixture stuff. So it's gonna go for 10 more minutes, and then we're gonna glaze it with a thicker glaze for another 40 minutes every 10 minutes. So this bird is fussy, 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 and it better be delicious. All right, so it is out of the oven. It is deeply brown and crispy. And I know on camera it almost looks black, but I promise it's brown. It's not black, it did not burn. It's just that really, really crispy duck skin. So I'm gonna let it sit for about 15 minutes, and then we're gonna carve it. Hopefully it was worth all the work. I sliced this up the best I could. I have the 2 duck breasts and then the 2 legs, and I roasted broccoli and some of the leftover balsamic glaze, and the skin is perfect. It's so nice and crispy. I've tasted it and I'm really impressed. It's really good. But I mean, this is really like enough for 2 people probably after all that work, but we're just gonna sample it, and then we have some chicken we can eat. Okay, here's what I have to say about duck. It's freaking delicious. Everybody loved it. But a 6-pound duck, by the time you cook it, you lose all the fat, you lose all the bones. There's like 2 pounds of meat. My family inhaled it in 30 seconds, and they're still gonna need to eat some chicken. So, and it took me like 5 hours. It took like 5 hours, tons of basting, tons of flipping. And then the cleanup is gonna be insane because of all that balsamic and honey. I didn't even use real honey, I used honey substitute, but like it's stuck to everything. This is something I'll definitely order at a restaurant. I don't know if I'll make it again or not. It's delicious, but it was a lot of work for a very, very small amount of food. So this is chicken that I'm gonna have Jason grill just kind of as meal prep. I wanna be able to have salads this week with chicken, and I had some leftover of the balsamic glaze that I made for the duck. So I added some olive oil to it and some salt and pepper and spices like that. I think I used some spicy all-purpose, just a little bit, and mashed it all up in here. And I'm gonna let this marinate for half an hour or so, and then Jason's gonna grill it. And this will be perfect chicken to have on salads. I have some romaine and some arugula and some blue cheese. I think this is gonna be really good for lunches this week. So I just kinda wanted to get that meal prepped. Jason grilled up all that chicken, and I just sliced it all up. So we have this massive amount of this grilled chicken. Kids will eat on it too. It definitely won't just be me, but this will be perfect for my salads this week. I'm really looking forward to having blue cheese salads with this chicken, this balsamic glazed chicken. Now I'm gonna go ahead and cook up some rice in the Instant Pot. I'm gonna get that going first, and then I will get working on dinner. I just wanna make a big pot of rice that the kids can have as sides throughout the week. And then I think I'm gonna do like a mashed cauliflower side for me. This is what I keep my rice in, and that is how much we had left. So I'm just gonna fill this baby up. We like to buy rice in bulk. Rice is so cheap anyways, but we usually buy it in way bigger bulk than this, but that's all they had at Aldi. So if you would like to cook rice in your Instant Pot or make like a big pot of rice for your family, say you do low carb but you have kids that don't and you want a simple side, the Instant Pot method is so easy. All we're gonna do is hit this rice button and that's it. Then we're gonna put however much rice you want and then the same amount of water. Then you can season it however you want. I usually either add a few pats of butter or some olive oil or some avocado oil, stir it up real good, put the top on and just let it go. When it's finished, I usually let it slow release for about 10 minutes, take the top off, and that's it. You don't have to be standing over a pot on the stove. It's so easy. Put 4 cups of rice, 4 cups of water, 2 really big pinches of salt, like probably a couple teaspoons of salt, because it's a lot of rice. And then I did probably 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Just stir that up. We're gonna put the top on and that's it. That's all. So what I'm gonna do for my chicken is one of the simplest things that I make. I take my keto crumbs, then some Parmesan cheese. If you have the shredded Parmesan versus the grated, that'd be ideal, but this is what I have. And then whatever spice you want, about a tablespoon. We're gonna mix all of this together, and then we are going to coat our chicken in seasoning and mayonnaise. Again, whatever seasoning you want to pick. Now, these are like some mamma jamma sized chicken. So I am going to cut off the excess fat. Remember, the toxins live in the fat, and if you're not buying pasture raised meat, then you want to go for lean. If you're buying the super expensive, really good quality pastured, then you can keep the fat on. Otherwise, let's add our fats in another manner, like an avocado oil mayo in today's example. What I'm gonna do is take each slice and cut it straight down the middle. So kind of like butterflying it, but I go all the way to make these thinner, because these are some big pieces of chicken. I'm actually gonna cut these into half pieces as well. I am all about time today, efficiency. So you could put each of these into a Ziploc bag and use a pounder or a meat mallet and pound them out so that they're exactly evenly and even thinner. But we're not gonna do that today because frankly, I'm hungry and I just don't wanna it literally would take me an extra 2 minutes, but I just don't feel like it. So any kind of seasoning you want. I'm using up something that I hardly ever use but is decent. It's called Penzeys Revolution. So once you do that, you're going to take mayonnaise and you're gonna coat all of it on both sides. So see, we've got these slathered with mayonnaise and seasoning. Again, you can make this a million different flavors, whatever floats your boat, whatever you feel like. Then we're gonna go into our keto crumb mixture with the cheese. You can also do this with fish, y'all. You could do this with pork chops. There's the Instant Pot. Okay, so I just made up this mashed cauliflower. It's been in my freezer forever. It's not the cleanest. I'm not sure why I bought this. I never buy mashed cauliflower this way, but this was in the freezer and we need to use it up. So this says it is 9 carbs per serving, y'all. Like, I'm not really sure what's going on in here, and I'm super not sure why I bought it, but let's read the back.
I saw that on the pack.
I know, like what the heck? All right. Cauliflower, water, dried sour cream, non-fat milk, modified whey, cornstarch, natural flavoring, onion powder. Okay, so per serving, 9 carbs, 2 fiber. So there's sugars in this is why. 6 grams of sugar. Okay, I won't be eating this. If Jason or Jack want to eat it, they can, but like, yeah, I'll just be sticking to the chicken, y'all. All right, I usually let the rice slow release for about 10 minutes or so. And then I go ahead and hit this guy where it opens. So Just letting that open, and then I will show you what it looks like. It always works every single time, no matter how much you do. If you want it to not be sticky rice, and you would just need to rinse it, I did not rinse it. I just didn't feel like it, so it's a little bit sticky, but it is just, it makes it so well. It's great. Great, great, great. Like, so nice. I just let it cool, and then I put it in a thing and store it, and the kids can eat it as sides to any meal all week long. All right, so we are almost done with the chicken. It's hard to show you in the oven because of that bright light, but really what I wanted to show you was that I love this thermometer because I stick it into the thickest piece of whatever meat I'm cooking, and then I set it for whatever temperature I want it to hit. And as soon as it hits 165 degrees, it's gonna beep at me. So the thickest piece in there right now is at 159 degrees, so we're almost there. As soon as we hit 165 for chicken, we're good. I'll set it out and let it sit for 5 minutes or so. It'll rise to probably 170 or a little higher just sitting. But this really helps me know not to overcook things. I absolutely love this. I got this on Amazon, I'm pretty sure, or maybe Target, but I'll see if I can find it and link it because it is worth owning some version of this. So here is the chicken out of the oven. It looks so good. Again, how long it takes depends on how thick your chicken is. Or are you doing pork? Are you doing chicken? How thick is it? Are you doing fish? Any of those options, but this is what it looks like, and it is delicious and moist every single time. For dinner tonight, I'm just gonna do an egg casserole. It has some chorizo I need to use up, and I found a thing of biscuits that I bought, I don't even know when, that I could heat up for the kids. So I'm just gonna do an egg casserole, a chorizo egg casserole, and some biscuits, and we've got bacon that we prepped earlier in the day, and that's just gonna be a really simple, easy breakfast for dinner, Brenner. This is a chorizo. Jason's cooking it up for me, and then when it's done, I'm just gonna throw the casserole together really quickly. All right, 12 eggs, and I'm gonna go in with about 1/4 to 1/2 cup, you decide, probably about 1/4 of heavy cream. And because the chorizo is so flavored, all I'm gonna add to it is a little bit of seasoned salt and some pepper. I'm gonna add probably about 1 cup of cheese right into it, and then we'll put some cheese on top as well. Chorizo will add so much flavor, y'all, but you do need to pay attention with chorizo. Some chorizos have a lot of fillers that end up being very carby. This one is a 0 carb chorizo, but make sure you read the back of your packaging on chorizos. I'm gonna put this in a 350-degree oven at the same time as the biscuits, and this will probably take 25 to 30 minutes because we did use 12 entire eggs. All right, biscuits on the tray. These are going to cook at 350 for, I think it's at 12 to 14 minutes. Smells really good. That's what it looks like on the inside, and I'm just gonna serve it with a little biscuit and call it a day for the kiddos, and I can eat it sans biscuit, and it's perfectly keto. We're gonna make our enchiladas. We're using a red enchilada this time, and this is all of the barbecue pork. We're gonna combine the barbecue pork 1 thing of cream cheese. I'm gonna add a handful of cheese. I'm going to do 1 scooping tablespoon and a half. I like them because they're diced already. They're already diced up for you, and they have a top, so I can just keep this. Now I can put the top back on and keep this in my refrigerator. And then we are going to add some green chilies. Whole can of green chilies. This is what's going to go inside of our enchiladas. This is thoroughly combined. Now we are just going to stuff this inside our low-carb tortillas. Let's do assembly line. All right, so here is our enchilada sauce. We're gonna put some of it into this bowl, a little bit in the bottom of our casserole dish. You're gonna take your tortilla. You can use any kind of tortilla, whatever your favorite is. This is Mama Lupe's. Let's see here, if you can see that. These are my favorite low-carb tortilla. So basically, I just dip it in the enchilada sauce to get it completely coated. And then I just set it in my enchilada pan. Some filling, stuff it down the middle. And then we're gonna wrap these babies up as tight as we can and push it to the side. We're just gonna do that all the way across. Alright, so here's our enchiladas. I usually press them in a little bit tighter into the pan, but this is how many we had, so we made as many as we could with the filling that we had. We were just utilizing leftovers. This is very much a clean out the pantry meal, and everyone will absolutely love it. It is always a crowd pleaser. I usually do green enchilada sauce, truthfully, but I had this in the cupboard and I wanted to use it up. So that is all. Now we're just gonna bake this until it's heated all the way through. Everything is cooked, but probably 25 minutes or so at 350, and it will be a yummy dinner. Enchiladas out of the oven. They smell so good and they look so good. Yum. Just gonna throw together a coleslaw side for tonight with the enchiladas. So I'm going to just use mayonnaise, probably about 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. I'm gonna go heavier on the vinegar, so 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and 2 tablespoons of red wine vinegar. We're gonna go for a more vinegar-based sauce. I'm just gonna add a little bit of spicy all-purpose, just a general, this is basically just like a general seasoning, and some salt. So just move my coleslaw to this dish. This is going to be a very spicy vinegar based sauce. If I had cilantro, I would have added that, but I don't have any, and remember we're doing a pantry challenge. But I'm just going to put the top on this, put it in the fridge, and it will be ready to be a side for enchiladas. Alright y'all, for dinner tonight, it's going to be every man for himself. We have a fridge full of lots of different things, so people can have soup, people can have enchiladas, people can make quesadillas, just whatever they feel like. That's what we're doing tonight. For dinner this night, we're doing a crock pot meal. We're doing a big crock pot roast. It's gonna provide a lot of meat that we'll be able to eat tonight and on into the week in other manners as well. I love doing a big, huge roast. Sometimes I think I'm gonna have a ton leftovers and I don't. We'll see, but let me show you how I'm gonna throw it together for our dinner tonight. So here's our pork roast. I'm just going to season it up, and then I'm gonna put in a packet of this onion soup mix and a packet and a thing of cream of mushroom, gluten-free. Now, this is not the cleanest of the clean, but we're also doing a pantry challenge right now, and I need to use up some things. This gluten-free cream of mushroom definitely has some carbs, but a serving of it is 1/2 cup. And what we'll actually end up eating per serving is more like a few tablespoons. So, you know, there's that. And then this is not the cleanest of the clean either, but it's delicious and I need to use it. So this is what we are going to use. This is the insert of my crock pot. I've got it on the stove, super dirty stove, and I've got some avocado oil in here heating up. I'm gonna sear the pork on all sides before we start with the crock pot. this nice and seared. See how nicely that's seared? You could skip this step, but it doesn't take all that long, and I think it makes a better result in the end. So I'm gonna put in 2 small onions, just sliced, and then a ton of garlic. This is like, I don't know, 6 cloves of garlic maybe that I chopped up. Next, we're gonna go in with our Lipton soup mix. Oh, by the way, the seasoning I used on this was this real salt, Redmond's Real Salt, organic seasoned salt, and some pepper. That's what I seared it in, and then I cooked it in avocado oil. So we're gonna put this right over the top, and then we're gonna add our cream soup. All right, there we go. This is a gluten-free soup mix, and it's definitely not the cleanest of the clean ingredients, but it's tasty, and at least it's gluten-free, so I decided I would go ahead and use it because I needed to use it up. I just filled this can up with some water, and we're just gonna put that water in. I did about 3/4 of a can. Okay, I'm gonna turn this on. I'm gonna do high for 8 hours. I'm gonna check it at about 6 hours and see where we are, but this is a really big roast. All right, y'all, this has been going for about 4 hours, so I thought we would check it out and see how we are looking. Let's see if we're tender yet. Yeah, it's starting to be tender. I'm probably gonna let it go a couple more hours, but it's definitely starting to break off easily with a fork, but not quite there. I'm gonna go ahead and flip this whole piece of meat so that the other half is what's covered. I may need more than one hand. There we go. Flip it around that way. Yeah, this bottom is real tender. So I'm gonna give it a couple more hours because I like this to be like fall apart tender, and then we'll pull it out and shred it, put it back in, and that will be a delicious dinner. All right, it has 2.5 hours left, so we're at like 6 hours on high, 6.5. Oh yeah, that is ready, y'all. That looks good. All right, I'm gonna get in here with a couple of forks and shred this up really, really well, and then we'll be ready to eat. The kids ended up going to my parents tonight, y'all, so basically we don't need this. Jason and I may end up just eating out or eating soup from last night or something like this, and then we'll push this to tomorrow night, but I'm gonna go ahead and shred it up and I'll show you what it looks like. This is just a small portion of it, but it is just shredding up beautifully. I just tasted it. This is so good. So good. We can eat it like this, or it's available to use in other ways. Like, this doesn't have like an overwhelming certain taste. I went pretty basic, just garlic and onion basically, so it can go a lot of different ways. So here is the meat. This is a big bowl. I know it looks like a small amount kind of, but it's a massive amount of meat. And then I've got the rest of it. I filtered the gravy or sauce or whatever into my gravy boat thing, and I'm gonna let it separate here some and let some of the fat off because this was a very, very fatty meat. And then people can use this as a gravy. It's actually pretty thick, so I'm not gonna thicken it. It is very, very tasty, and probably initially we'll serve this pork over rice for the kids, over riced cauliflower or riced broccoli for us, and gravy on top. And then later in the week, I really don't know. I will just see how much leftovers we have. All right, y'all, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you got some ideas for dinners this week. We had some really, really good dinners this week. Some not so time consuming, but some really, really good food this week. So I hope you got some good ideas, and I'll see you again next week. Bye, y'all. Be blessed.